When you are watching an NFL game and some player during the game shows a feat of mental or physical toughness, the commentators of the game typically like to bring up the legend of Ronnie Lott. They say something like, "Oh, Ronnie Lott was one of the toughest players of all time. He broke his pinky finger in the game and got it amputated on the sideline so he can go back in and keep playing. He never wanted to miss a snap." In reality, that's not exactly what happened. In the last game of the 1985 season, Lott's 49ers played a critical game against the Cowboys. During one play, safety Ronnie Lott made a tackle on Cowboys fullback Timmy Newsome, and during it, smashed his pinky into the crown of Newsome's helmet. It shattered the bones in his finger, causing bone fragments and flesh to fall on the field. He ended up not playing the rest of the game, but then promised 49ers fans that he would play in the following week's playoff game. He did end up playing in the game, but his left arm was heavily wrapped as a result of the temporary fix team doctors had to do on his finger.
They sewed it up once originally, sewed the nail back on that little finger and the finger back up. Then he had to go to a hand surgeon and have it done again, and the nail taken off and the skin put around that bone and put it all back together. And he said the toughest thing since the injury had been the flight. He said on the flight it started to swell and throb on him, and said it bothered him more on the flight than anything else.
Ultimately, he was not very effective in the game because the bandagers made it difficult to tackle, and the 49ers lost that game anyway, leading to the offseason. In the offseason, Lott had to choose between two options to fix his pinky. Option 1 was to take the bones from other parts of his body and graft it onto his finger with a pin, which would cause a long recovery period and would have made him miss 8 weeks into the 1986 football season. The finger would once again be fully functional after healing, but there was a chance of re-injury. Option 2 was to amputate the top of his pinky finger, which would eliminate the lengthy recovery period, and he would be able to start the next season on time. Lott chose to amputate his finger and then proceeded to play 10 more seasons in the NFL, where he won 2 more Super Bowls, went to 6 more Pro Bowls, and ended up in the Hall of Fame. Shaquem Griffin is an NFL linebacker for the Miami Dolphins and previously for the Seattle Seahawks. He has played 4 seasons so far in the NFL, and he has done it all without a left hand. Since birth, Shaquem suffered from amniotic band syndrome because in the womb, his umbilical cord wrapped around his hand, which prevented circulation and resulted in his hand to not grow properly and be extremely sensitive. The pain and sensitivity was so intense that at 4 years old, his parents got his hand amputated so he can live a pain-free life. Along with his twin brother Shaquille, Shaquem would take football seriously, and after playing college football at UCF, both were drafted into the NFL. Although Shaquem is currently on the Dolphins practice squad, it is amazing to see how with the right amount of talent and motivation, it's possible to make it into the NFL with a missing hand. Whitney Mercilus is a defensive end for the Houston Texans and has been since they drafted him in 2012. He has had a pretty successful 9-year NFL career so far and was even named a second-team All-Pro in 2016. One thing that many fans don't know about him is that he is missing the fingertip on his left pointer finger. During spring practices in his sophomore season at Illinois, Mercilus was in the weight room with teammates when one of them was having trouble squatting 405 pounds. So Mercilus came over to help him bring the bar back up. Instead of reaching for the bar, his hand grabbed the weight plates between the bar and the rack, and then the bar came down really fast, which severed his index finger at the first knuckle. About the incident, Mercilus said, quote, "The finger was just sitting there, just chilling there. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually looking at the inside of my body right now. I'm looking at my bone, which actually really is pure white, by the way," end quote. The tip of his finger, which included his fingernail, was too damaged to be reattached, so instead, doctors used it for skin grafts to cover the wound. His recovery period was a month long, and the event changed his outlook on football and made him more focused and more motivated to succeed compared to his first 2 college seasons. In his junior season at Illinois, he led the country in sacks and forced fumbles, and then afterwards was drafted in the first round of the 2012 NFL Draft. The next NFL player with missing body parts actually has 2 missing body parts. He was an NFL kicker for 11 years on the San Diego Chargers, the Saints, the Eagles, the Los Angeles Rams, the Houston Oilers, and the Bills. During his football career, he was also a one-time Pro Bowler and was chosen as a first-team All-Pro. This player was Tom Dempsey, and he was born with no toes on his dominant right foot and also no fingers on his right hand. With no toes on his kicking foot, Dempsey resorted to kicking barefoot at the start of his career. He would kick in a straight toe style in an era where soccer style kicking was becoming more popular. When he got to the Chargers, a special shoe was designed for him that he would use for his entire career, and it would cause some football historians to believe he had an unfair advantage compared to other kickers. This was highly debated when Dempsey kicked an NFL record 63-yard field goal in 1970, and it remained the record for 43 years. Some believe the combination of a special shoe acting like a sledgehammer and his straight toe kicking style made the ball travel farther and put his record into question. Nevertheless, Tom Dempsey's uniqueness made him one of the most recognizable kickers in NFL history. Jason Pierre-Paul is an NFL defensive end who is currently playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and previously played for the New York Giants. After a few successful seasons in the NFL, he was celebrating 4th of July in 2015 with his family and lighting fireworks.
Every year, Independence Day, I do fireworks for the kids.
Tables all set up and all just nothing but kids and grown-ups just watching the fireworks. And so we popping them all night, popping them all night, popping them all night.
Toward the end of the night, he lit a firecracker that exploded in his hand.
I was facing this way. I remember I was facing this way because the truck was right here. I was facing this way and I lit it. Like it was right here. As soon as I lit it, I heard boom. Right when it said boom, I jumped like this. I couldn't see anything. It was like just straight white and green, the lights that go up in the air or whatever. So when I got up, my fiance was just screaming I got up like it was normal. You know what I mean? Make sure I was okay. I didn't check my hand at the time. I'm just happy that, you know what I'm saying, nobody got hurt or anything, you know? Next thing you know, my fiance she just going crazy. I'm like, excuse me, I'm like, what the f is your problem? You know what I mean? She was like, your hand. And I looked at my hand, I said, shit. Imagine this whole part right here, just open. All the tendons, everything. It was dark, so I just caught a glimpse of it, and I'm basically, okay, I gotta get to the hospital fast.
I saw my thumb hanging off a little bit. There was no flesh on my index finger, partial on my middle finger. But the whole ride, I wasn't in pain. I was just saying, I messed up. But when it hit me was when I actually had to do those surgeries. I don't know how many it was. I think about total 11 surgeries, and I do a surgery here, and 3 days later, I'm doing another surgery. I'm in mad pain now. I'm getting morphine, Dilaudid, pain pills, and none of this stuff is helping me.
In the hospital, he had his right index finger amputated, and after recovering, played the entire 2015 season with a huge padded club on his hand. Eventually, he would use special football gloves to fit his hand, and still was a productive player in the NFL. In 2020, he was even named a Pro Bowler as a member of the Bucs, so his self-inflicted deformed hand has not really impacted his performance on the football field. Coincidentally, another NFL player had fireworks blow up in his hand that same night on July 4th, 2015. That player was Tampa Bay Buccaneers cornerback C.J. Wilson. His firework incident led to the loss of 2 of his fingers and him announcing his retirement shortly after. He only played 2 seasons for the Chicago Bears and the Bucs before retiring due to his missing fingers. Kendrick Norton played 2 seasons in the NFL for the Carolina Panthers and the Miami Dolphins. He was looking to become a more consistent player and build a better rapport around the league until on July 4th, 2019, he was in a life-changing car accident.
Norton was driving home with his girlfriend Kira when he made contact with another vehicle, spun around 4 times, and flipped.
It was just like boom, and then I just remember just, getting, we were tossing and turning, and then, we just landed upside down.
And I crawl out of the car, he crawls out behind me, and I look and say, where's your freaking arm? And he said, stop playing. And he looks down and said, because it's like literally veins, everything's just pouring out, gushing. It's like a horror movie.
Kendrick remained in a coma for 2 days. When he woke up, doctors said his arm couldn't be reattached. He spent 14 days in the hospital where he underwent 6 surgeries and lost 30 pounds. 2.5 weeks after the accident, he was already back in the gym.
Good, same thing as last time.
Unfortunately, Kendrick doesn't seem to be pursuing an NFL career anymore. His accident is terrifying, but it goes to show that anyone's life can change in an instant. Rashod Johnson was an NFL safety for 7 years for the Arizona Cardinals and the Tennessee Titans. While playing for the Cardinals against the New Orleans Saints in a 2013 game, Johnson tackled Darren Sproles on a punt return. After the play, he ran to the sidelines and felt pain in his left middle finger, which is not unusual in football. He removed his glove to check on the injury and immediately noticed the tip of his finger was broken, with bone exposed and the top basically staying inside his glove. He reportedly stayed in the game until time expired somehow, and then had surgery on his finger later that night. The doctor shaved his finger down to the first knuckle and sewed it up, making it the same size as his index finger. He would return to play 2 weeks later, and since the injury, played 3 more seasons in the NFL. So in reality, it seems like Rashod Johnson fits the Ronnie Lott legend better than Ronnie Lott does himself. So there you have it. Every player in NFL history that had a missing body part that they played with or that caused them to stop playing football. Comment down below which one had the craziest story, and please like, because some of these injuries were disgusting to look at when I was making this video. Anyway, thanks for watching, and check out one of these 2 videos as well. Peace out.